Going live. Regrets. I have had, with my wealth, real estate, money, like all the things. Regrets I have had. And then I have a little something to say hello in the chat. I am dialing this in right now. If I could start over, what would I do sooner? And so I want to go over. Let me add this too. Wait a minute. Copy paste. We want everyone to join in. Yes, you could join in. We're going to talk about regrets today, and I don't want anyone to be left out because this is important. All right. Regrets. This is stuff we don't talk about, right? This is stuff we don't talk about. Let me know if you can see and hear me inside of the chat here. I am flying solo today, so I want to make sure that I reach you all. Type some regrets that you might have with some real estate today. I know it doesn't like to show me everything. There I am. This is important. All right. I can hear me. I can see me. Super. So the regrets that we don't talk about, that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I've been in business for 25 years, and I want to make sure we're having a different conversation. I always talk about wins and strategy and tips and tricks, and I'm always pushing you guys to the next level of, real estate, money, finances, wealth, taxes, all the things inside of retire early, get started and retire early through real estate investing. That's my mission, right? That is my mission. But I do have some regrets that I want to talk to you about today. And one of them is waiting to get ready, or trying to time the market, or this is what I did in the beginning. Like, I wasn't sure. I didn't have 100% confidence. And so when I'm not sure about something, I don't move forward. And what I've learned over the years, and I know a lot of you are that way. I've heard you, seen you, talked to you. You're like, I got to know 100% before I move forward. And, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just I learned so much more when I move faster, is all I'm saying. So I wished that one of my regrets is I wished I would have moved faster. Okay. Without being 100% confident and sure about something. And some of you, I know you're probably in there going, well, Joanna, like, I need to be 100% sure if I'm putting money into something that is 100% sure. And I've got to tell you that even if there's no money in it, like, I would sit there and be like, oh, I got to be 100% sure. Like dating, right? Dating had to be 100% sure before I was like, you don't know until you take action with this person, right? And then putting my money into something, like, is that a good deal or not? Should I, or even buying a car? Let's just take it out of real estate altogether. Okay. You have to be 100% sure before you move forward. But, you can go test drive it. You could do all the things to be a little bit more ready. But I waited, I studied. I am a nerd bird. I don't know if you guys know that about me, but I am such an introvert and nerd bird. And I know some of you are laughing at me right now, but it's true. I prepared a lot. I was always getting ready to get ready. Let me know in the comments if that's ever been you, getting ready to get ready. Okay, so this was the, what's the best way to put it? This was the knife in the heart moment, right? Where I am super, super smart. I studied. I knew things at 100%. And I had all the bells and whistles and things that you could know. And somebody with like 10% knowledge, but 100% of the audacity to move forward passed me. And so I'm like, what the? You don't even know what you're talking about. But they were moving forward with action, right? They were moving forward. And I'm like, okay, I could have done that. I could have moved forward with, a little bit more momentum. I'm not saying being ignorant and moving forward and not understanding what you're doing, but you learn a whole lot along the way. You learn a whole lot along the way. And so one of the reasons I do the 5-day challenge, and some of you have been on my 5-day challenge, and some of you are brand spanking new here, but I do a 5-day challenge where I take you step by step, like day one, and then I give you action steps to do. So you're in action with a step every single day for 5 days. Like, let me know if that's something you would want to do. Like, roll with me step by step for free for 5 days in an action, not being fully sure, but having me in your corner by your side so you could be more sure, right? But taking scary action anyways. Like, if you'd want that, let me know. Put that in the comments so that I can know to roll back. I'm not sure if I can see him here. Hey, Denise, I see you. Let me see. Kaylee Alves McCafferty. I don't know. I totally just butchered your name. I apologize. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know how I could support you. But today we're talking about regrets, because I want to make sure that you guys know that I've been in this for 25 years. I've been living off of real estate for 25 years. And I do have some things like, I could have done that sooner, or I could have done this, or I could have done that. And a lot of you that have joined my program, they join because they're like, I've spent the last year, 2, 10, 20 years Google tubing trying to figure this out. And it's not until they get in my program that they see a light, like how to move forward. And then if you could just like take action today and quit trying to time the market, or quit trying to say, here's a good one. Here's a good example of, I'm going to wait to have children until I could afford it. When the heck is that going to be? Like, you need millions to take care of your kids, right? And it's over progression of time that you will need that. So, but there's one thing I've learned from my mentors is, if you don't have fire under your butt, you'll never move. Let me say that again. If you don't have fire under your butt, you'll never move. Some of you are depressed. Some of you are sad. Some of you are like, I have all of these things that are weighing on me. And I get it. It happens to the best of us. I've had it too, but you action lifts those up and off of you. Okay. So this is how diamonds are created. They talk about this all the time, right? It's the pressure, right? It's the pressure to creating that diamond. And then sometimes you are under a lot of pressure and you're like, I can't take it anymore. Either it's finances, your family, your whatever's going on, your coworkers, you don't like where you work, you lost your job, whatever it is, right? Nobody is void of drama in their lives. No one is void of drama in their lives. It's what you do with it. Sometimes we need that fire to move us forward. Now, that 5-day training that I do, I've had students say, I've got more from you in a 5-day free training than a $40,000 program that I paid for with a bunch of videos. So I give a lot to make sure that you have the steps to move forward, but we have to come together to do it, right? We have to come together to do it. I have to have a conversation with you. I have to figure out where you're at. What are your needs? Because everyone needs something different. Everyone's a different type of investor. Everyone's a different type of wealth builder. But what I know for today is, if you don't have this in play, it's going to be very difficult to wave through all of the drama that's happening in the political world, in the your own little world, right? And so I stand on my soapbox about creating your own economic independence because that's my regret. That is my regret that I didn't build that sooner, that I didn't understand it sooner. I geek out on tax and legal. I used to be licensed. I have a whole real estate investor's tax guidebook that I've just about got complete. So let me know if you guys want it. But it's truly the secret sauce to paying next to zero in taxes. I had to learn the hard way what that is because I did wholesale, I did flips, I made good money, but I also paid good taxes too. So I had to learn how to work the system. And when I lost everything in 2008, that was when I ended up working at H&R Block and learning like, oh my goodness, I read 80,000 pages of law jargon to understand this. And I'm giving you guys the condensed version guide. So if you guys want that, type tax in the comments so that I can give it to you. But I also did it as a solo sport. Okay, so each property I did mostly all of this myself. Some of you might think, oh, well, you have your husband to help you. He was not there when I started. I met him way later when I was doing flips. Okay. And it's anyone could do this. Anyone. I hear a lot of women saying, but I'm a woman. I can't swing a hammer. It's okay. You don't have to. Or I'm not married. I don't have anyone to support me. I'm a sole income. That's fine. I was my own as well. Okay. I built my empire myself and exploded as I partnered with people. So take these lessons I give to you so that you can learn. Okay. Learn from my regrets of being capped, of being, tapped out at a certain level going, it's a hustle. It's a lot of work. And a lot of people won't do this. A lot of people won't do this. There's got to be an easier way. Yes, there is. And I'm trying to tell you that. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you're on TikTok shop doing all kinds of whatever, creating cash. What I know about tax law is you're taking all that money and you need to stick it into real estate, and so that you can live off of the passive income. I don't know if you guys just caught that. For some reason, I just saw it for the first time. You take your earned income, right? Make as much as you can with whatever you do. Take it, roll it into real estate, and then live off of the passive income. I just did an infinity thing there, right? You take whatever you are making. Okay, track with me here. Let me know. Infinity, right? Let me know if you got this. Make whatever money you can today off of whatever it is, side hustle, full-time job, C-suite executive. I don't care what you do, mowing lawns. You take that money. You make as much as you can and you throw it into real estate. So this is the earned income side. You want to put it into the asset who's then going to give you passive income. And then you have this infinite thing happening. I just made that up. I saw the pattern I was making. I go, that's the infinity sign. Oh my God. And it's true, right? You have that infinity money coming in because once you do it the way that I'm telling you is the best tax advantages, and you get the passive income regardless, right? So like the more passive income you have coming in, whether it's your own real estate or you're investing in somebody else's real estate, okay, you could go both ways. It doesn't matter. I have plenty of deals y'all can jump into. I have for accredited investors, for non-accredited investors, if we know each other, right? And so lots that you can jump into where you can create good returns out of the assets, right? Take your earned income, put it into the real estate, and then you get that passive income on a monthly, quarterly basis, regardless of what you do. whether you go to the beach, whether you go to work, whether you sleep in that day, whether you're sick, whether you're playing with your family, the money comes in. Okay. And the reason why that is so important is because the best way I can say is you're washing the money through the tax law, through the real estate, right? I'm not laundering money. Don't panic. We're not laundering money. But it truly is a way to do that, right? It truly is a way to wipe out, clean the taxes. Okay. Because the more you could do that and the more you're structured as a business, that's how you pay next to zero in taxes, my friends. So why wouldn't you? Okay. Everyone wants to get pissed off at Trump because he did this, blah, 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 all the garbage that he did with real estate and LLCs, but that you get to do the same thing. It's law. It's tax law. It's business law. It's like, if you just read it and understand it, you'll like, okay, now I get it, which is what I did. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. So you don't have any regrets and you can get there sooner. Let me know if that made sense or if I lost you guys. Okay. So the other thing I regret is playing too small, right? Playing too small. I was in when I first started doing flips, I was in an area where the properties were $60,000, $80,000. I did multi-millions in this, but the properties were like 60 and 80,000 a piece. And I'm like, if I just did that same thing where I made multi-millions, it was actually 3.5 my first year to be specific. If I'd have just taken it to a bigger sandbox, right, where the properties were like 200,000 or 300,000, I could have been making even more. Do you see what I'm saying here? So another thing I learned is cheap houses aren't cheap. Cheap houses are not cheap. Some of you are like, I got like 20,000, so I'm going to put that in the, a deal, and then I have to get a cheap enough house to where the 20,000 goes. And then, I'm barely going to get this. And then your money's tied up. It's in jail. You can't use it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Please. Other people's money is not a theory. It's a fact. And it's what I learned. The savvier I became at real estate and hung out with savvier real estate investors, they don't even use their own money. Let's take it to Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett. Let's take it to all of the hedge funds, right? They don't use their own money to invest. They have investors come in with money that don't want to do the hard work. They just put their money in and they get a return on investment. That's what I'm talking about. Take your earned income, roll it into the asset, and the asset pays you back. Okay, this is done at many, many levels. Just giving you that infinite sign again, because it's generational wealth. That's why I'm making the infinite sign. That's why it's so aha to me, because it's beyond you. It's your legacy. It doesn't stop when you pass. It's infinity. It just keeps going. Okay. So we could get in some nuances, but I'm not going to get there. But so be a little bit smarter about this than I was. Learn. We always learn from our parents. Like, our parents didn't this, my parent doesn't understand me. And then you realize how wise they are so much later in life. My parents were kind of wise. And I should have listened earlier, but we don't, So I get some of you aren't even going to listen to me. Some of you will. Yay, high five. But some of you won't. Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys know that playing team was a big deal for me, because I didn't have a lot of trust in people doing the right thing in real estate investing. My bad, my thing, my box that I had to step on and get through. And it was because I saw a lot of shady things in real estate. which is why I ended up started training on real estate, because I'm like, I've got to make people aware to not just partner with anybody. And I've seen story after story after story after story. After 25 years of watching people do this, it kept me playing small because I was seeing other people getting screwed. Okay. Now I know how to mitigate it. I understand how to partner with somebody. Is it foolproof? Nothing's foolproof in this world, right? Nothing is foolproof in this world. You have to do your best due diligence in dating and marriage and friends and business partners and real estate and all the things. Okay, nothing is foolproof. I've learned how to mitigate it. Okay, I've learned how to date other partners. I don't just go, hey, you, yeah, great Liz partner, you got this. No, don't do that. Don't be desperate for your first deal that you make the wrong decision. And so what my students do with me is they take all the Google tubing, all the networking, this partnership, this guy said, and we pull it all together so that my students understand how to move forward. Because they don't have the experience to rationalize or see red flags, okay, or see opportunities, right? The right opportunity for them. Some people may just partner because, oh, it sounds cool, but it might not be the right opportunity for you. It still might be a win, but it might not be the best win for you. So I have the red flag side of it that I keep my students safe, and then I have the, is that the best opportunity for you? Let's think about that for a minute. Oh, you're right, Joanna, that doesn't make sense for the goal I'm trying to reach. Okay, so my third regret is that I did not build my portfolio sooner. And so I keep saying put it into the real estate and live off the real estate. And then that's what I did. I created money through real estate, and it just kept churning in real estate. This is how I've been able to live off of real estate for 25 years. Yes, I've done the cycle, the up and down cycle with real estate, right? But I have lived off of real estate for 25 years. And I know that cash flow is the biggest deal to me. It is my retirement plan, which is why I have the group to get started and retire early through real estate investing. It's a retirement plan. I created this because one of my students came to me at 23 years old, and with all the steps, creating the cash flow, doing a few flips, starting off with wholesale, doing the flips, and then building a portfolio, which is the typical pattern for an investor, right? And that's what we taught. And then he was able to retire in 5 years off of the cash flow. So hated his job, didn't want anything to do with his job. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And now he gets to live a life by design, right? I have many people. I have another student, mom of two beautiful girls, that she's teaching them how to, one of them, we call her little demo girl. Super, super cute. She's on her 19th property. Her goal is 30 doors, right? I'm 30. 30 doors, because that's her retirement number. It retires her husband, that gives them the cash flow they need, and they're living off of real estate. Another student of mine was building a portfolio and then banged out a flip. Okay, it was supposed to be 6 figures, but it came down just a little bit from the 6 figures. And thank God they didn't go, oh, well, I'm only going to, do this small margin for a flip, because then they would have been next to zero or negative. And so I keep my students really, really safe as I possibly can. You guys are in charge of your life, but I go out on forums and I talk in many different places, and I hear people saying, I did my first flip and I only lost $30,000. I'm like, those conversations drive me nuts, that you would do that and be okay with losing $30,000. I'm not okay with that. I'm not. $500 is the most I've ever lost in real estate. So, and that was because I wasn't paying attention, and the earnest money deposit went hard, and I'm like, I moved. I was getting married, planning a wedding in a place I barely knew. I came to Pennsylvania in 2017, and the prices between California and Pennsylvania was like, oh my God, I could pick them up like 6-packs around here. And so I did. And then one of them I didn't cancel fast enough, and the earnest money deposit went hard. So lesson learned, right? But my son actually pointed out to me, he goes, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never had that happen before. And he goes, but Mom, you're such a professional that you only lost $500. It could have been $5,000, which should have been the earnest money deposit. Right? So anyways, long story short, lesson learned, right? And so is this resonating with you guys? Let me hear in the chat. Let me see. Yes. Denise says, yes, I need to transition to that strategy. Can you be more specific what that strategy is? I wasn't looking at the chat, Denise. Grand Rising. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Yvonne. And you guys want the tax book. Good. Yeah, let me know with that transition to that strategy. All right, cool. So hopefully these have been, I wrote them up over here. I want to make sure that you guys get this. Oh, here's the biggest one. Well, I'll get into that for a minute. But just know that if you are wholesaling or flipping, you're paying the most in taxes that way because it's earned income, right? So the same thing as a W-2 or a 1099, you're paying the most taxes that way. And I go over this in my tax guide so you guys can see it. So again, if you're wanting the tax guide book, then I'll just type tax in there and I'll get it to you. But that was one of the things that I felt I had to do when I first started was I had to flip, I had to wholesale. I wholesaled my butt off, and I put a lot of work into doing flips. And the thing was, I was unemployed at the end of every escrow. And so if you're wanting to replace your cash flow, if you're wanting to replace your job, you need cash flow coming in from real estate in order to do that. And there's so many tax laws that you get to take advantage of when you are that small business and you are that real estate investor. You'll pay zero in taxes if you play the game right. And so we do have the one, I spoke about this last week, the one guy who he makes like $2 million something in his W-2. Been there for 15 years. It's a big deal. Makes really good money, but he was paying like 800 and something thousand in taxes. And so once you understand how to structure, even if you guys are making 6 figures at your job, right? Like just take the same path that I'm walking through here. Is he created the different LLCs. He's got like 7 now. Okay. So walking him through the path of here's how to pay next to zero in taxes. It's taken time to build the structure because you got to do this, legit. You can't just make this shit up. There's a legit way to do this. And now his tax bill is $47,000. So that's a huge difference between $800,000. It was 800 and some change. I think it was 802, something like that. To $47,000. Look at that big ass gap, right? So he was used to paying all those taxes, and now he has all that money, $750,000 back in his pocket because of structure. And you can take that from any salary you want, right? If you're making $100,000, if you're making $500,000, if you're making $1 million, like just take the same path, understand it. And this is what you ask your CPA, and we go over this in the book too, is, what is my strategy to get to zero in taxes because here's my goal. Here's where I'm at. Here's my goal. If you guys have a goal, let's chat. Okay, let's connect. I'll put my calendar in the. Yvonne's like 0 taxes. Yes, yes. Almost done with the tax guide, Yvonne. I even put a checklist in there for you so you guys can check off. I know who's a box checker. I like to check things off. Okay, did that, did this. So I have that attached to it as well. So you'll get all of that. You will get all of that. I just want to make sure it's tidy and legit and legalized, because I cannot legally give you financial advice, tax advice, legal advice. I'm none of those things. And so it's my opinion, it's my experience, it's, education I've learned over the years. And when I once was licensed, here's what I learned and how I've now applied it into my life. And so here's the kicker. And so many people don't understand this last one, and I didn't even understand it for the longest time, was nobody told me wealth was boring. Wealth is boring. Okay. So it's kind of exciting to me because I geek out on those tax and legal things. I'm like, oh, what can we do over here? What can we do over there? Which makes me a great teacher to help people understand it. You don't have to be that person. But technically, it's the same thing over and over again, right? It really is. So according to the income on the W-2, you want to mitigate that with an LLC, with a business, right? A legit business. And then because his income was so much, we did multiple LLCs, right? It's the same thing. Success is boring. Taxes are boring. And I think that's why people don't really get into it, is because it's just repeated disciplines. Repeated disciplines. I know. It's a boring system. To me, it's exciting. Again, I geek out on this shit. And I think that's why people don't pay attention to it. They're like, well, I don't know and I don't understand. It can't be that simple. It is that simple. It is that simple. You take your earned income, you stick it in assets, and you live off passive. You put everything in a trust or stacked LLC. You're done. It's that simple. And you're like, but Joanna, I have this. Everyone has a different route that they get there. That's where the difficulty is, right? Everyone has a different route of how they're getting there. Different circumstances that get them to the same boring path. Earned income, passive income, shelter. Okay, so if you want to learn more about that, stick tax inside of the comments here, and I'll get that over to you as soon as it's complete, right? Predictability. It creates predictability. You can plan according to, once you have this in place. So again, we're more about real estate. We're more than just about real estate investing. I'm in real estate investing, first of all, because I thought it was exciting. I'm like, how does all this work? And then once I learned how it worked, I go, oh my God, every wealthy person, I hang out with millionaires and a few billionaires. Okay. And I got to tell you, they're boring. They're bored. That's why they do some of the things that they do. They're bored. And it was a hustle getting there. Don't get me wrong. It was a hustle getting there. And I hear their regrets, their stories. And I'm like, I get to play bigger because I'm learning from their regrets. And I want you guys to learn from my regrets that regurgitate their regrets as well. Okay. So you're getting the best. You're getting the best. Because I hear so many people going, I wish I would have started 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If you started 20 years ago in real estate, I'm not talking about an agent. I'm talking about collecting portfolios, right? Collecting properties, whether it's single family, multifamily, I've realized that the single family takes a lot longer, and this day and age, it's getting harder and harder to get that cash flow. So my students were online yesterday. We were going over a deal, and we got to make sure we get to the cash flow, right? And by the time you have property management, maintenance, taxes, insurance, all the things, does it still cash flow? That's what you got to know. And I get someone came to me with what was it? But they're doing short-term rentals over here, Joanne. I want to do short-term rentals. That's where you make most of the money. And da-da-da. I don't care what you want to do. It should always cash flow long-term. If you do a midterm, if you do a, that's the money. If you do short-term, that's the money. If you do a lease option, if you do all those things are gravy. And I've done them all. Okay. But if you can't pivot back to cash flowing long-term, that's where you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And I've watched so many people do it over the past few years because everyone was like, oh my God, short-term rentals. They were bored during the pandemic. So they bought property and they're like, I'm going to do a short-term rental. And then regulation came in and shut them down and they were bleeding out money. So this is where I keep my students safe, right? I go, this deal will work if you do it this way. It's not going to work if you do it like some pie in the sky dream. Okay. So there's ways to make it sexy for you. And one of the other things that I learned, and this is what you get, I believe, what's it? So Jessica, what's it? She was like, I cannot believe all the stuff I've learned in this short time. There is so much knowledge. Well, first of all, right here that I share with my students, you guys don't even see the half of it live because I can't give it to you all live. You would just be overwhelmed. What I do is I take my students in one by one and go, here's your cup and what I see is right for you and how I'm going to keep you safe. Okay. Everyone has a different book that they're going by. Now there's a golden thread that goes through it all, and it's real estate, taxes, wealth, right? Like that's all. But again, they all have a different roadmap of how they're getting there. Okay. One of my students was so shy, but she did all of the things that I told her. It took her a minute to get through, but I have to say the biggest regret I have is not making more of an appearance in rooms, being in proximity with great people. Okay. Some of you might know this is networking, but being in proximity with great people just naturally elevates your way of thinking. Okay. You're like, oh my goodness, I hadn't even thought about that. Being in proximity matters. And if I had learned that years ago, that's one regret I have. I'm going, oh yeah, well, they're great. They're whatever. Okay. I've never been that person. Like I've been backstage to different concerts and seeing band members and, seeing Zach Brown. I saw Metallica, Motorhead of all people, right? Being able to see them like, close up, being in the Berkeley Theater in California with Metallica, with Tool, with, being able to be that close in proximity, being in the room with Grant Cardone, like right next to you, being in the room with Robert Kiyosaki or Ken or, there's so many greats out there. It's changed my life. Okay. And it's not just because I'm with celebrity or with, like that. That's not how I think about it because they put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else, or it's not that big of a deal. Where the big deal is for me is, I think differently now by talking to you because they think differently, right? They've learned over the years. Do you know Grant's from a small town in Illinois. Or no, was it Louisiana? That's what it was, Louisiana. And like, there's not a lot of successful people that have come out of Louisiana that think to the degree that he does. And he's still learning to this day. That's what I'm doing, right? Every day I'm learning. I'm putting myself in the room with people that think bigger, because there's always a bigger thing to think too. There's always a bigger thing to think too. Do you know that Grant Cardone has billions in real estate? That's number one. Number two is he has helped thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to invest in real estate, to do sales and marketing and all of the things, right? So the reason I'm picking on him is because I saw him on an episode where he said, I was the dumb guy in the room. And I'm like, what? He said he was the dumb guy, and the person with the least amount of knowledge, let's just say that, in the room. He was in a room full of billionaires that were thinking at levels he never even thought of yet. And just, you would think he's there, right? That's why I'm using him as an example. You would think he's there already. No, there's always another level. So this is about the journey. This is about enjoying the journey. This is about learning how you could take business trips instead of vacations. You heard me right. Business trips instead of vacations. If I could help you understand how to take business trips that feel like a vacation, right? You'll pay less in taxes. You could write it off, right? It's a tax advantage event. How you're doing real estate. Some people do flips and they're paying the most in taxes. If you hold and refinance, you pull that out as a tax advantage. No taxes on the money that you took out. So which one would you rather do? So this is what I teach my students. They want to do a flip, but I get them to refinance it. First, pull that equity out. Then they can, hold it for a year and then sell that. Why? Taxes. They're still getting the great chunk out of there that they would have got. Maybe not all of it yet. They're not getting all the equity, right? But they're getting a good chunk out of it so they can get to the next one. And they're either going to build their portfolio or they're going to sell that one off so that they can grow and get bigger. But they're only paying this much on capital gains versus that much on capital gains. Okay, so there's lots of secret sauces, but I don't know unless I know your situation. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments if this has been helpful. The different regret. I'm not even saying that word right. I'm out of words. Regrets that I've had. I don't grieve any of it. I am thankful and grateful for the lessons I have learned. Regret is almost too strong of a word to say, but I know it will resonate with you, and I want you to hear how I would have done things differently. Had I known today what I know today, had I known it then, I would have started a whole different path. And I'm grateful for my lessons because it's made me who I am today. I can relate to so many of you getting started, feeling frustrated, not understanding how to start or get your next deal, or I got 2 or 3 and I can't get to 5 or 7 properties. I want the cash flow, but it's hard. It's a struggle. And I've been there. There's an easier way. And I want to help you out. So I'll go ahead and I will put my link in the chat to book a call with me if you feel called to, like, I'm ready for a next step and I want to hear how you would lay it out, Joanna. Totally no obligation. Just this is my gift, my 100 days to money, helping you guys create money, being of service every week, and laying out a path. Let's lay out a path so that you can start 2026 rocking 2026, knowing your goals. Because if there's one thing I've learned, if you don't have like what we call planned revenue in the business world, there is no revenue. You have to have it laid out and planned. Okay, so let's make that plan for you. And again, I'll put the link in the comments for you. But again, I don't look back and go, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm just letting you guys know that I look back with, if I'd have just tweaked this, done this, I could have been where I am today at 13 million in assets under management like 10 years ago, and probably have doubled, tripled, or quadrupled that by now. Just saying, what would you like to do? Let us know. Okay. Any questions you guys have in the, I see the tax. Good. All right, I'll get that book out to you as soon as it's complete. We are almost there. I hope you've enjoyed this Sunday service. Again, I'm doing this just to make sure. This is my big give to you guys the last 100 days. How to make money, how to save money, how to pay off your mortgage in half the time, how to grow your portfolio fast, how to ditch the bank, how to, there's so much I want to cover and pay zero in taxes. Of course, it's number one, and it's coming up this January. We're going to be hustling to get our taxes together for April. Those of you that are entrepreneurs, we have the October just passed, and you're going, I paid so much in taxes, and I need this secret sauce, Joanne. So I look forward to seeing you guys inside of the Facebook group and learning more, hearing your questions. Ask them here in the comments. Give me a DM if you need to, if it needs to be private. And then I'll get you all that book just as soon as it's done. I hope you have a beautiful day, beautiful weekend. Bye.